بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي رب زدني علما. My respected elders and brothers, the months me and you are passing through right now are very Mubarak months also, are very significant months also. From the dunyavi worldly perspective also, and from the Deeni, meaning from the Islamic perspective also. It's easy to understand from the Islamic perspective, but the question might come in your mind, how from a dunyavi perspective? How from a worldly aspect? So let's take the Islamic aspect first. Why are we passing through Mubarak months? Because this is the month of Zul Hijjah. The Quran tells us that Allah has created 12 months, and out of those 12 months, 4 are sacred. Zul Hijjah is one of the sacred months. The last month, Zul Qa'dah, was also sacred. The month after Zul Hijjah, there is the first month of the Islamic year, because this current month is the last month of the Islamic year. Muharram, inshallah, will be the first month of the Islamic year. So that is also a sacred month. These 3 months are consecutive, one after another. Zul Qa'dah, Zul Hijjah, and Muharram. And then Rajab, 2 months before Ramadan, is sacred. So this is a very significant time. What is the meaning of a month being sacred and non-sacred? Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anh says, sacred means Allah increases the rewards of good deeds in this month, manyfold as compared to other months. And likewise, Allah increases the consequences of evil deeds in this month as compared to the remaining months. So as far as from the Islamic perspective, this can be easily understood that this is a very significant time we are passing through right now. Now, why is it significant from a worldly, materialistic aspect? The answer to this is because, any of the parents can tell me why is it significant? Vacation, school has closed. So what's the significance of it? We as parents might think, ab hamara kaam badh gaya hai, bacche ghar pe hain. So don't think from that perspective. That's a fact. Workload has increased. Okay? When the kids used to go to school, we have our own personal time. But now kids are at home, then we have to go by them. But other than that, the other side of the picture is, what's the positive? We can spend more time with our kids. Okay? We can bond the relationship, fill in the gap that was created in the last 10 months. We can walk to the park in the morning with them. We can take them out on vacation outside the state, inside the state, outside the country, whatever we can easily afford to do. Sit down with them. In regular days, maybe we were only able to meet them over the weekend, meaning sit down and eat with them over the weekend, or maybe just be together at breakfast, or maybe only at dinner. Now maybe twice a day you can sit down with them. First, you were not able to spend even 5 minutes because you were so tired, including myself, from coming from work. Now make a habit that you are going to spend 5 minutes at least with them, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever the case. Okay. Ask them what they did in the morning, how they spend the afternoon, evening, anything. You know better than me how to talk. So this is significant from this perspective. Why do we need to spend time with them? Why do we need to bond the relationship with them? Because Allah has put this responsibility on me and you. As parents, it is our responsibility to give time to our kids, to culture them, to nourish them, to educate them, to provide them with a good environment, to provide them with an Islamic tarbiyah and Islamic upbringing. If we don't do so, Allah will ask us on the day of judgment that I had given you a responsibility. Very rarely do me and you think that our children are an investment for us. Our children are they are the best investment in this world also. They are the best investment in the hereafter also. Whether it's stock, crypto, the new startups, whatever the case, the best investment is my and your children. How are they best investment? If we have given them a good Islamic education, if we have given them a good Islamic upbringing, okay, they will be a source of honor for us in this world. When people will see them, they would say, he is the son and daughter of so-and-so noble family. As far as the hereafter is concerned, we will be in our graves, me and you. But when they pray Salah, the reward will come to me and you. When they read the Quran, the reward will come to me and you. When they fulfill one sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the reward will come to me and you. Me and you cannot realize the words that I am saying right now are light for me to say. It's very easy for you to listen and digest that when we are in our graves, we will realize. When we literally will be in our graves, we will know the value of these things. Because once in the grave, our book of deeds will be closed. The hadith says only 3 avenues are there. One of them is waladun salih, Allah-fearing progeny, Allah-fearing generation. Okay? And the other 2 are, you spread good knowledge, beneficial knowledge, Islamic knowledge, and people are benefiting from them. The third option is sadaqatun jariyah, a continuous charity. You dug a well, you made a masjid, you contributed towards a masjid, you did something that is way long and continuing even after your death. The reward of that will come to you. Today, we might not be in need of so many gifts on a daily basis, but in the hereafter, in our grave, not the hereafter, in our grave, we will be in need of gifts on a daily basis. And what are these gifts? The good deeds that will continue coming to us, and one source is our children. That's why it's the greatest investment that Allah has given us, and it is one of the greatest amanats and trust that Allah has given to me and you. So this is the reason that this time is significant, and we need to spend quality time with them, good time with them, develop a relationship that was damaged in the last 10 months. This is the main reason. Secondary reason why me and you think they are going to school, they're getting the academics, they're learning academics also, they're learning ethics also. So my respected elders and brothers, they are not learning ethics. They are not learning good morals. The time has changed. Okay? When me and you were going to school, whether it was in this country or whether it was back home, it was way different. Those who have gone to the schooling system of this country understand what I'm saying. It's way different. Okay? My and your parents, those of us who are married, my and your parents did not have such a high level of responsibility as me and you have today. In a span of the last 20-25 years, things have totally changed. The ethics and morals that were there at that time have fallen to the ground. So this is another reason, secondary reason. Another reason to that is why we need to spend time with them, not only in July and August, but around the clock, on a daily basis, every month, every weekend. The reason is that spirituality is not taught to them in the institutions. I'm not talking about the US. I'm not talking about Europe. It's across the board, unfortunately, even in Muslim countries. Spirituality, the hereafter, what should be the concept of a believer, this is not being taught in these institutions. Once again, not to criticize anyone, the structure is such. They have made this structure, and me and you chose this option that we are going to send our children in this structure. So we don't need to blame anyone. We have chosen this for them. Okay? So once we are sending them, I'm not going into details, why not, should we or not. This is not the case here. Generally, we don't have so much time, and this is a topic that will continue maybe for 1 or 2 more Jummahs. So I need to save time and do mention whatever is generally needed, and you can, alhamdulillah, elaborate in your mind. We have chosen to send them in these institutions. So now the deficit there is there, the deficiency there is there. What support system do we have in our houses, in our communities, in our masajids, that we are providing that support system so they can counter the mentality that is being developed and put in their minds? Nobody will tell them in the school that there is a life in the hereafter. Allah will ask you 3 questions in the grave. We need to tell them. Okay? Nobody will tell them that the real success is the success of the hereafter. Success of this world is secondary to the success of the hereafter. It's temporary to the success of the hereafter. Me and you need to tell them. It's not the masjid's responsibility. Yes, pay attention to this. This is not the masjid's responsibility. Yes, maybe at the age of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, when the child starts coming to the masjid should provide this environment. But once the child is growing 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years old, it is my and your responsibility. Me and you disregard our responsibility. हमने कमी छोड़ दी उन बचपन के सालों के अंदर, और हम चाहें कि मस्जिद उस कमी को पूरी करे. हो सकता है 20, 25, 50% मस्जिद उस कमी को पूरी कर दे, लेकिन 100% पूरा नहीं कर सकेगी. कोई तो अल्लाह की हिकमत है कि अल्लाह ने माँ को तरबियत की पहली गोद बनाया है. ये अल्लाह पाक का फैसला है, मेरा आपका फैसला नहीं है. तो मस्जिद कैसे वो जिम्मेदारी पूरी कर सकती है? Allah, there's a reason why it has been declared that the mother's lap is the first institution for the child. Whatever deficiency that was there in the house, when the child starts coming to the maktab at the age of 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, sure, it's the masjid's responsibility to provide an environment. But the deficiency that was left in those beginning years, will the masjid be able to fulfill that responsibility? Yes, to a certain extent. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60%, not to 100% extent. Because responsibilities have been distributed. You would know in olden days when there was piety in the whole house, the mother would read the Quran when the child was in the womb. The mother would read the Quran when she was feeding the child. At the age of 4 or 5, the child already had memorized 1 or 2 juz of the Quran. Because this is all spirituality. So tarbiyah needs to be there in the houses also. Support system should be there in the community also. Returning back to where I started this. The schools are not teaching them ethics and morals. The school is not teaching them spirituality. When my son and daughter, I'm a parent of 3 children. Half of you at least sitting here are parents, or more than half. When our children graduate from high school or college, associates or bachelors or masters, what's the concept that is there in their mind? I'm not talking about the tarbiyah at home. I'm not talking about coming to the masjid. What's the mindset that is being developed? If you can buy a house in the first 5 years, you are a successful person. If you can afford the latest car, you are a successful person. If your job starts from 70K a year, you are a successful person. This is a concept they are bombarded with on a daily basis. So what do me and you expect from them once they leave the college and once they leave the school? Okay. Would they be super pious Junaid Baghdadi rahimahullah? No, this cannot happen. The support system has to be there in the places or in the times outside the school. Then if the support system is there, no matter they go to school or colleges, they will be a good practicing Muslim, he or she, whatever the case is. It's a continuous struggle. And maybe the success rate is 50% or less than 50%. But yes, something would be there. But if we are not teaching them the concept of the hereafter, we are not teaching them ethics and morals. I'm doing this bayan for the last 3 years in a row. This is the 3rd year. I choose this topic every year in the months of July and August. Those of you who continuously come to the masjid would have recognized as soon as I started this, that it's a repetition for the last 2 years. Why do I do this? For my reminder also and for your reminder also. I'm just talking about the last year, July 2022, and today is the last day of June, July, starting inshallah from tomorrow. Things have changed. The way immorality is being imposed on our children. If Allah wills, inshallah, when the time allows, I'll go in the specifics. I'll just take the names. Like whether it's the gender issue, that the child is allowed to change his or her gender, whether it's the LGBTQ issue, that you have to accept it. If not, then you are a bigot. You are a racist. This wasn't there in the last 1 year. Things have changed to such an extent. So this is why I'm saying ethics and morals are not being taught in the schooling system. We need to do this. Spirituality is not being taught. We need to fill up this gap. So my respected elders and brothers, how many times have me and you sit down with our children? Until now, I should ask myself, you should ask yourself. How many times did I sit with my boy and girl and I asked her or asked him, do you know about the grave? What will happen in the grave? Do you know what questions Allah will ask us? Do you know how a grave becomes a garden of paradise? Or do you know how a grave becomes a pit of hell? I know the answer to this. We all know the answer to this. I know my deficiencies. You know your deficiencies. We need to be interactive with our kids. Don't lecture them. The 10% might stay, 90% might fly over the head, and they would say, बाप की वालिदैन की वही पुरानी mentality है. Sometimes we hear from our children, you don't understand. You are still that old desi mentality. Forgive me for saying these words. I rarely use this. And sometimes people mind also when I use this. But I have to use this. Our children would think we are still FOBs, fresh off the boat. We need to change our approach. Islam will not change until the day of judgment. But at least the approach has to be changed. The way we interact with our children. We cannot yell at them today the way our parents yelled at us. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. They have the right to do this. We have the right to do this, but this won't work today. So my respected elders and brothers, we need to understand the approach. We need to create the bond. We need to discuss these things on a daily basis. Then only we will know where we are standing and where our kids are standing. हमें पता चल जाएगा कौन कितने पानी के अंदर है. Last thing, and I'll wrap up, time is up. Wendy Shalit, a Jewish author, in 1999 she wrote a book, A Road to Modesty, a Lost Virtue. It's available in the market. She went to the public schooling system when? 1999. So today is what? 2009, 2019, 2023. How many years have passed away? 24 years have passed away. 24 years ago she wrote this book. She's not a Muslimah. She's a Jewish lady. And she's saying our kids are being stripped from they are being stripped of their modesty in the current schooling system. These are her words, or more or less her words, 24 years ago. A non-Muslim is saying this about the schooling system of this country, what is the situation of the system today. So once again, the purpose is not to criticize. The purpose is, in these circumstances, what is my and your responsibility. So I'll quickly review in less than a minute what was done, and inshallah next Jummah, if Allah wills, I'll continue from where I'm leaving right now. Why do these months are important for us? From a dini perspective also, and from a materialistic dunyavi perspective also. Second, what is our responsibility as parents? Third, what is being missed in the academic institutions? That is my and your responsibility. Fourth, how many conversations did we have with our children until now? And what do the non-Muslims say about the schooling system of this part of the world where we are living? Now continuing with the spirituality, why do we need the spirituality in the first place? The world talks about material aspects. Imam Sahab, ab abhi bhi purane zamane mein aap ruhaniyat ki baat karte hain. Why do we need to talk about spirituality? This inshallah I'll continue if Allah wills. Whatever was said and heard, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding of these things. Ameen. We'll have the azan inshallah, and then brothers can start the sunnah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah.